Welcome to another Flick and the Bozman show as we come on in with a little bit of Genesis on this day after Thanksgiving. And Boz, how you doing?
I am stuffed.
Oh, I get it. I get it.
It's good.
I
No, doing great.
am doing good, but again, you were defeated by one of our contestants. How is this happening on such a consistent basis?
I am only glad that I was able to finish over 500 with the Chiefs pulling out a late win there.
Yes, and of all our players, only one actually beat you with a 4-1 record, and that was someone you know, and that was my sister, and that was Hillary, and she's
Well,
here with us today.
Yay.
well,
Hi. Happy.
What do you credit your success to, Hillary?
Uh, well, I did pick one underdog and it happened to win. So that was the secret to my success this week.
That should have been your song, "The Secret of My Success,"
Yeah.
but instead,
Bye.
why the land of confusion? Was that something to do with Dave's picks?
Yes. Yes.
Hey, now.
Directly related.
Just taking shots at you here. What'd you think of the games yesterday, Dave?
There were games yesterday.
Yes, only two though.
It was, I wasn't overly surprised. I figured the Washington team football is a much better team with Alex Smith at the quarterback, um, and Houston is playing better with the new coach, and Deshaun Watson is playing much better of late. So I wasn't terribly surprised by those outcomes.
Hillary, did you get a chance to watch either of the games?
I only got to watch about half of the Cowboys game, and in that half of the game that I watched, I think I saw about 4 injuries. So it was a really sloppy game.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
a Cowboys game or a Washington game?
Yes, the Cowboys game. Yes, I saw. I think it was four Cowboys down with injuries in the short time that I was able to watch in
Well,
my.
traditionally, we call them the Lions and the Cowboys games. Yeah,
Oh,
All right.
yeah.
they're
All
the
right.
teams that normally get. When we get to trivia later today, we may have a Thanksgiving related question or two. So
Oh,
we'll
Oh
see
boy.
how it goes. I
Well,
will tell you about the trivia. It's not all sports this week.
wow.
So you better have your basketball knowledge and your pop culture knowledge, all of that ready to go.
May
okay.
I phone a friend? No.
You cannot phone a friend.
Okay.
That is not allowed. Not allowed at all. But we can try the 5 Sunday games here. We're giving you a hint that they're all going to be played on Sunday, we hope. But we'll see how it goes. And Hillary, as the defending champ, as the person who beat the Boz, do you want to go first or second on the first game?
I will go first.
I will. You will go first, and anyone out there who thinks, "How'd this person beat the Boz? I could beat the Boz." Well, you can. You can
Hey,
answer these 5 games in the YouTube comments section, or you can do it on our Twitter at FlickBoz. You can even send an email to flickboz@gmail.com. Last week we almost set a record for number of entries, and we almost hit double digits. So
Wow.
it's getting up there.
all right.
All right, so you're going first, Hillary. I didn't actually listen to your answer. That was
Yes, I will. I will go first.
I'm criticized for that a lot at home, but you will go first, and it's that classic matchup of 7-3 teams
Ooh.
as the Tennessee Titans will take on the Indianapolis Colts.
Wow. Well, this should be a really good game. So I know the Colts are coming off a win last week. Was it overtime against Green Bay? Was that an overtime
Yes.
win? Okay. And I know Tennessee had a little rough go in the middle of the season, but they've sort of come back strong. So I think, oh man, I think the Colts are going to be tough to beat at home. So I'm going to have to pick Indianapolis on this one.
She's going with Indianapolis. Tough at home is her theory. Boz, you going to agree with her?
I do agree. Here's what I see. I was looking at I always look at teams with good wins and who they played and things like that. Tennessee's got two good wins on the season. They've beaten Buffalo and they've beaten the Ravens, teams that I think are also good teams. And the Colts also have two good wins, one of them being against Tennessee a few weeks ago, and the other one against Green Bay last week. So that they both have decent wins, and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing that the Colts beat them head to head in terms of who's going to win this next one. But the thing that stood out to me is that Tennessee's strength is in their rushing attack. They're fifth in the league, averaging 151 yards a game, with Derrick Henry leading the way. And one of the things the Colts do best is stop the run. They are third in the league, averaging only 89 yards per game allowed. So I think that's going to be a key to the game: is can the Colts stop what Tennessee does best on offense? I was also surprised to see that the Colts are averaging 30 points a game on offense, led mostly by their passing attack, and I think that will help them win this one and take control of the AFC South. This would give them essentially a 2-game lead with 2 wins over the Titans if they can get this one.
Do you think both these teams make the playoffs, Dave?
I do. Yeah, I think they're both. I think there's an extra playoff team this year, right? They're up to 4.
There's 7, yeah.
So I don't think that the Titans will be the last one in, assuming that they lose. Both of these are good teams. I think there's other teams that might struggle to get that last spot, but I would expect that they are both playoff teams.
The Clevelands or the New Englands of the world may be looking for that last spot.
Yeah, the Raiders may struggle. The Browns, the Ravens are actually struggling a little bit now. So yeah, there's definitely some teams that you could see finishing at 9-7, 10-6, and looking at a tiebreaker.
Well, Boz, you got to go first on game number 2, and that will be the Kansas City Chiefs visiting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
This figures to be one of the better games.
There are a lot of bad ones, so yes. Yes, it does.
I think of the season, Brady and Mahomes and Tampa Bay's been playing well and winning some games. They both have a couple of good wins. Surprisingly, Kansas City doesn't have a lot of really good wins. They've beaten the Ravens, the Bills, and the Raiders. And getting the Raiders last week was a good win. Revenge. Getting back for losing earlier in the season. Tampa Bay, as good as their record is, they've only got 2 really good wins, beating Green Bay and the Raiders. It's a matchup of 2 of the better offenses in the league, but the Chiefs' defense is just a little bit better. They're averaging only allowing 21.4 points per game, where the Bucs are averaging about 23 points allowed. Chiefs are a little bit better at the giveaway takeaway margin, +8 versus +5. So I'm going to go with Kansas City in this one, although it's on the road, and it's going to be something that certainly Tampa Bay is amped up for. I expect it to be a good game. I expect it to be one of the more entertaining games of the year to watch.
So you're going with KC, and we'll see if our guest agrees or disagrees. Hillary, what do you think?
Wow. Well, I also will go with Kansas City. I looked at this game pretty closely. It's always hard to bet against Brady when he's.
So what? We don't do that.
Pick
against Brady.
Pick against, yes.
And he has been playing pretty well as of recent. So Tampa Bay has been playing pretty well. I know they had that tough loss last week. But I am going to have to go with the reigning Super Bowl champs here. So even though they're on,
you're agreeing with each other through 2 games. You both taken the Colts over the Titans, and both going with the road team, Kansas City over Tampa Bay. And Hillary, you go first with game number 3. And if you want to be the next guest on the show, you have to attempt to beat the Boz. And you do that by going to our Twitter @FlickBoz or put your comments. You're probably listening to this on YouTube. You can put your comments right down there on the bottom, and your scores will be checked and calculated at least once. Hillary, we got a barn burner here with the Giants at 3-7, traveling to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals, who are 2-7-1. At least that's what my records show.
Yes. Well, so I know last week that the Bengals QB was injured, and but it's really hard for me right now to pick the New York Giants. I know they've had a little bit of a better run as of late, but boy, wow, this is a really bad game.
You're really helping our listenership here by calling them really bad games.
So, sort of a toss-up here. I'm going to probably go against the Boz. I assume the Boz will pick the road team here, but I'm going to stick with the home team. I'm going to think they're going to somehow squeak it out.
You're going with Cincinnati.
I'm going with Cincinnati.
Right. Can you even name their quarterback for this week?
Only if I looked it up on Google. No, I cannot.
Maybe they're going without a quarterback. Maybe it's a unique strategy. I know the Boz man does his research, so you got the quarterback there for Cincinnati this week.
I can honestly and sincerely say I have never heard of this guy before.
That happened to me a couple weeks ago with a quarterback, so don't be upset.
Allen,
yes.
Who spent the entire season on the Bengals practice squad, will make his fourth career NFL start.
How did I miss the first three?
Well, those are the sort of Cinderella story things are made of here. So
the Cinderella story.
I didn't know.
Gotta love it. Yeah. So no, I am going to pick the Giants in this one. I think I thought the Giants would be the team to beat even if Joe Burrow was playing. I think the Bengals have been struggling. They got the one tie on the season, but not a great team. Not a lot of good showings here. Their two wins are against the Jaguars, and somehow they beat the Titans.
First game of the year, right?
No, that was just a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay. What was I thinking of? No, I don't know.
They lost
the Jaguars' only win was the first game of the year.
Yeah, exactly. And they got the tie in week 3. They haven't shown up a lot, and I think losing Burrow and replacing him with Allen is going to definitely be a negative versus something that again I had already thought the Giants had an edge on here. Giants have been playing better of late. And
can they win the NFC East?
Yeah, I honestly think as things sit now, if they win on Sunday, they actually will be in first place.
Yes.
Having the tiebreaker over the Washington team football at a whopping 4-7 record. And then looking ahead, not that you ever do that in this league. 6 wins has a pretty good chance of winning the division, and 7, I think you're pretty much a lock. So, can the Giants get to if they can beat the Bengals? You expect them to lose at Seattle. Probably lose against the Cardinals. Maybe they win one of the Cardinals and Browns games, both of those at home. They'll lose at Baltimore almost certainly, and then playing in week 17, I guess, against the Cowboys to maybe have a chance to win the division at that point. So that's how I see it. If things break the way they seem like they're going to, that last Sunday of the year is going to be for the division.
All right. So our first disagreement as our contestant has gone with Cincinnati, and our expert, the Boz, has gone with his Giants. And he's got to pick first with game number 4, a battle of a 6-4 team traveling to a 4-6 team, and that is Arizona traveling to New England. Take it away, Boz.
Yeah, this one's definitely going to be a tough one to pick. the Cardinals are clearly a better team on paper. They've got three pretty good wins, counting San Francisco, I think, as a decent win. I think the 49ers are better than their record. They've also beaten Seattle and Buffalo. The Pats have beaten Miami, the Raiders, and the Ravens. The Cardinals have a better offense. They have one of the better running offenses in the league. I think they're second in the league in rushing yards per game. And they're scoring almost 29 points per game. But going on the road and going out to New England, I think is going to be tough for these guys. They had a couple of late. The Cardinals have played well against decent competition. Their last four games, they split with the Seahawks, which was 4 games ago, and last week. 4 games ago they won, and last week they lost. They lost to the Dolphins, and then they beat the Bills. The Dolphins by a field goal, and beat the Bills by 2. So it's and both teams are dead even on the giveaway takeaway margin on the year. I really wanted to pick the Pats in this one, because I just think they are a better coached team, and overall, I think the AFC is a little bit better than the NFC in total, but I can't take the Pats. I think they've had a couple of pretty disappointing games, including losing to the Texans last week, and losing to the Broncos earlier this year. You can't lose those bad games. And I used to think that the Patriots never lost consecutive games. They lost 4 games in a row earlier this year. So you can't even say, well, they're due to bounce back. Maybe they're just not that good a football team. So I'm going to take the Cardinals in this one.
Going with the Cardinals. Let's
Yep.
see what our guest prognosticator says. And Hillary, what do you think?
Well, I looked at the stats on this game, and I do see, I think as a quarterback, Murray is much better right now than Newton is, as far as like passing yards. I think he's rushing yards probably too. So he's really, really quick and can sort of make a lot of plays happen. So he's sort of the spark. I think I heard that Larry Fitzgerald has COVID.
He was on the protocol list, so I
Yeah,
don't know
so
if he's officially out,
I
but it
don't
doesn't look
know.
good.
Yeah, I just don't know if that means that others are to come. I know, I think Newton had COVID earlier this year. So yeah, I mean, honestly, all the stats are kind of leaning towards Arizona. I don't think New England is the same team as it used to be. So I am also going to pick Arizona.
So Hillary is going with Arizona, and if you want to try to be our contestant next week and even be on the show, get your picks in before Sunday, 1:00 Eastern. Do that at FlickBoz on Twitter, or you could email us at flickboz@gmail.com, or put your picks right on the YouTube site. We got one game to go, and Hillary, you get to go first in this great game, this traditional rivalry of the Chargers at the Bills. About 4 of the 5 games have resulted in one or both of you going, oh man.
Yeah, this is an odd one. How do they often play? Are they?
No.
No.
But they are both in the AFC, so it's 3-7 at 7-3.
I mean, I cannot pick against the Bills. I don't really even need to look at much right now. I think especially Bills home, there's really no other choice for me to even think that this could be a kind of a underdog sort of situation. I am going with the Bills at home.
Bosman, do you take this opportunity to go against our guest?
Yeah, I think the reason I picked the Chargers a couple weeks ago on the strength of what I thought is one of the better young quarterbacks to come in the league in a couple of years in Bobby Hebert. I mean, Justin Herbert. Um, I don't know. I just enjoyed that they pronounce their names completely differently. Uh, uh, so I think, if you were going to pick um, the Chargers, it would be on that basis. But traveling across the country to play in Buffalo, I'm not sure what the weather's supposed to be like, but often Buffalo at this time of the year is cold and even snowy. Um, and so I'm going to go with the Bills here. I think they're the better team. I don't think the Bills are a great team by any stretch. Just to be clear, they are they're a decent team who has had some good wins, but they've also had some puzzling losses, and it's not impossible to me that they lose this game. But I think it would certainly be a surprise.
Will Buffalo win at least one game in the playoffs?
Yes, I think they'll probably get a playoff win. They figure to get a home game, most likely, being the division champion. I think that's likely.
Okay. Well, you were dissing them, saying they weren't
Well,
very
I think
good.
there's going to be some more bad teams in the playoffs this year.
Yeah,
It's not
that's it.
a comment necessarily on the Bills being any better than I was saying. I just think that they may get a good matchup, and I expect them to. I have a question for you.
Were you impressed with the Chargers beating that feisty, hard fighting, well-tooled machine in the Jets last week?
Well, not to diss the Jets, but they had no defensive backfield to speak of, right? And Herbert picked them apart as was predicted.
Well, they
Not
did
by
tackle each other well on the Jets.
What's that?
The Jets cornerbacks did tackle each other well.
Oh, well, it's important to be able to have good tackling skills.
Yeah.
They can, stop the colorblindedness. That would
Hey, watch it.
Oh, sorry. So I got a question for you, Flick.
Sure.
We mentioned that Fitzgerald might be out, and I saw that Lamar Jackson has COVID, and the Baltimore Pittsburgh game might even be canceled. At what
That's why it wasn't one of your 5 this week.
At what point does the NFL cancel a game? Is it a number of players? Is it a star power player getting COVID, or I don't fully understand what the NFL is doing here.
I think they wanted schedule flexibility. They'd rather move games than cancel them, move them a couple days, make the teams responsible. You got enough guys, you're showing up and playing. I think once they forfeit a game or cancel a game, that opens things up for having to have a policy on exactly why they do that. And I would think they have a number in mind or conditions in mind. I don't know what they are, but this game is getting very close. And if it gets to that stage where, what do? Postpone it? Make Baltimore forfeit? It's not a game. We'll count it as a tie, and the undefeated Steelers are no longer have a 0 after their record. It's when do they do it? I don't know. I would figure they don't want to, and put the responsibility on the teams and show up with who you got.
I'm just curious. I think that baseball never really figured that out either. You had games that were postponed or canceled and never made up, more than ever in baseball. And I don't know. It just feels like there should be some sort of codified approach to this.
Yeah, well, then the fans know exactly what it is, and maybe that's good. But then you'll have fans out there. Oh, it's 11 guys. You said 10 guys. Oh, this guy's not really have COVID. He's injured.
Mm-hmm.
I just think you're going down a path they don't want to, and I understand why they don't want to. And is it the Ravens' fault that they have 12 guys with COVID? Partially.
Well, it was a locker room trainer or something who supposedly passed it around or something. Is that the?
Yeah, is it rude of me to say, well, it's the team's fault? They better. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But it's also this when things are scheduled and you have to try your damnedest not to have that happen. And if I knew the answer, I would tell the league. I don't know the answer, and I don't think the league does either. I just figured they don't want to forfeit or cancel any games.
I will say, I know that, going back to baseball as an example, and the Marlins famously had like a week or more of their games were postponed, and they played a million double headers, but they weren't well at that point, and they were playing with a bunch of guys who had never played in the majors before for a lot of the season, which is I think in large part why Don Mattingly won the National League Manager of the Year. And my point, and I do have one, is that baseball just said, hey, you play with who you got. And if that's what the NFL's position is, then fine. I don't have a problem with that. And maybe moving the game as late as they can in the week is a good compromise to try to get people healthy. But I just have no idea, and the lack of any sort of cohesive plan is disappointing, at least.
Yes. It's disappointing. I don't necessarily blame the league for not having that policy. Governments don't, and businesses don't in many cases. So, but we won't get into all that. Instead, what we'll do here on the Flick and the Bozman show is do some trivia. Much more fun to do trivia than talk about these serious matters.
Trivia time.
Hey,
trivia time. Is our guest going to stick around for some trivia?
If you'd like me to stick around,
of course. I think you'll be a great asset to
I'm sure
help the Bozman out here in some of the non-sports questions.
Oh, are they entertainment questions?
I can't tell you that information. Not because I don't want to, I just don't remember. So we'll start with a college hoops question.
Oh my God.
And college hoops has begun. And this one shouldn't be too difficult, I hope. Who is currently the number 1 ranked men's college basketball team in the country?
I believe that is your Gonzaga Zags.
You're going with Gonzaga. Okay. Would you like to correct him or agree with him there, Hillary?
Oh my gosh. I'll say Duke.
Duke. Okay, Duke.
I believe I saw the Zags beat Kansas.
They did beat Kansas, and I'll give you this much: that was a battle of top 10 teams.
Yeah.
So you're at least in the right area code.
Am I in the right area?
I think Duke canceled the game, and yeah, you're in the right area. They're a top 5 team for sure.
Okay.
Well, you both told me how much you paid attention to the games yesterday, so I think I can slip a question from yesterday right past you.
Oh boy.
That was Antonio Gibson scored 3 touchdowns yesterday for the Washington football team.
Yes.
I just want to know where he went to college.
He went to Auburn.
Auburn, not Gonzaga.
No, Gonzaga is not really known for their football.
Okay. No, they're not.
Oh my gosh.
Hillary, anything?
I'm going to go with he did not go to college.
Did not go to college. No college. NA, not available. Okay, I'm writing that down.
I
Now,
didn't guess otherwise.
We're going to go back in time to 1985.
Oh boy.
In the final 2 weeks of November, I just need to know what the number 1 song on the Billboard Countdown was. I'll give you a hint. Would you like a sports-related hint or a music-related hint?
Music-related hint.
Music-related hint. Glenn Frey had the number 2 song during at least one of those weeks.
What give me the time period again?
I'm going with the last 2 weeks in November in 1985.
1985.
It's a song you may have heard at Citi Field.
Glenn Fry was probably "The Heat Is On." I'm gonna say from the Beverly Hills Cop soundtrack.
Oh, but what was the hint about Glenn Fry?
He had the number 2 song during at least one of those 2 weeks.
The number one song the last 2 weeks in November 1985.
Number
Glenn
1
Fry
song
is
the
somehow
final
a
2
hint.
weeks of November in
He said we
1985.
may have heard it at Citi Field.
Yeah, may have heard it at Citi Field in 1985.
Oh my
I
gosh.
got nothing.
That's so hard.
What's the sports related question?
Yeah.
Quick clue. Was that the sports related clue? The Citi Field thing, or the Shea Stadium thing? I said you mean?
I said you may have heard this song at Citi Field at least at one point.
Oh, not in 1985.
No,
I was going to say because there wasn't a
there
Citi.
was no such thing as Citi Field in 19. Yes.
All right. So it wasn't.
Well, I'm gonna have to go with a Wham song because they were very popular in 1985. So
Why else would I ask it? I don't
I'll
know.
say "Wake Me Up Before You Go Go."
Wake me up before you go.
I'll go with the old standby.
That's a lot to write down, but I'm writing it
Okay.
before I keep diligent
That
record.
was the heyday. So
The heyday of Wham, yes. That weekend, yes.
yes. No, that year. Shut up.
Dave, are you going to agree with Hillary or go with an even worse song? Some might say the worst song ever to hit number 1.
Oh, well, now I know what it is.
Oh, well, now you've already guessed.
No.
So you can't guess again.
We built this city.
We built
got
this
it.
city.
That's it.
We built this city.
No,
That was a good clue.
you gave him a clue.
What? I got you a clue. I would never do such a thing. I was going to tell him one of the words was also in the Glenn Fry song.
Makes sense.
But
City. Yeah.
lots of words in the title.
Okay.
All right, I better move on here. But I'm writing down the Bosman's official guess of "We built this city," words that you never thought would come out of the Bosman's mouth, but they did. All right, anyway, one of the games I made you pick this week was the Cardinals and the Patriots. And the last time they played, they opened the season in 2016 with a thrilling game. The Patriots won that game 23-21, and the Cardinals had a missed field goal late. I want to know, who was the Patriots starting quarterback and why was Tom Brady suspended?
Well, that must have been Jimmy Garoppolo's time because of the Deflategate.
Deflategate.
You got Jimmy Garoppolo and Deflategate. Okay.
I concur.
You concur. Wow.
The softballs.
Jimmy Garoppolo and Deflategate. Softballs, yes. That was a softball question in more ways than one. All right. We'll go to question 5 of 6. The NFL leader in quarterback interceptions has 14. He's thrown 14 interceptions, 3 more than the next highest. Who is that quarterback?
I know who this is.
You know who it is. I have a guess. Can I guess before you say you know? Because I believe I'm going to say Carson Wentz.
You're right.
Whoa!
Wow!
I heard the broadcasters mutter this stat when he had his last interception and said, "Wow, he just is at the top of the leaderboard now."
Talk about color blindness. It may be a Carson Wentz problem, or whoever you may have guessed. Yes, I don't want to give away any information. Now, you have your calculator ready, Hillary.
Oh my God!
For question 6.
Okay, hold on. Calculator on.
And it's a Thanksgiving football game related question.
Okay.
What is the Jacksonville Jaguars' current win-loss record on Thanksgiving?
1-0.
1-0. 1-0. Bosman?
Well, what kind of question is that?
What kind of question? What's
I
their
mean, there's
Thanksgiving?
trivia, and then
What's
there's
their career Thanksgiving record?
that's barely related to anything.
Oh, well, it's Thanksgiving in football.
Yeah, what does Jacksonville have to do? So, all right, let's look at this logically. Jacksonville's been around for what, like 25 years?
Sure. Well, the city's been around longer.
The city has been around longer, that's true. But the Jaguars have been around for, call it 25 years, probably a little more, a little
I like that you get that extra half syllable in there. That's good.
less. Exactly. Uh, so, in that time, they would have played against either the Cowboys or the Lions once every 4 years.
That's a theory.
What?
And the chances of it
He's
being
got his calculator out.
on
Don't
the
mess
road
with him. He's on a roll.
would be
Let
once
him go.
every 8 years. So they would have played either of those teams maybe 3 times on a game that could have been on Thanksgiving Day. And the chances that they played any of those games when it was Thanksgiving. Now, of course, recently they've had games that weren't involving the Cowboys or the Lions on Thursday. They had that added that third game recently. So I'm talking to myself. I was going to say they've never played on Thanksgiving. I may go with that. I'm going to say they never played on Thanksgiving.
So officially, I wanted their record. So you're going with
0-0.
O and O, while our contestant here has gone with 1 and O. All right. So once again, those questions were: who's the number one ranked team in men's college hoops? Antonio Gibson scored 3 touchdowns yesterday for Washington. Where did he go to college? I need the number one song for the final 2 weeks of November in 1985. And in 2016, the Patriots beat the Cardinals 23-21. Who was their starting quarterback and why was Tom Brady suspended? The NFL leader in quarterback interceptions has 14, 3 more than the next highest person. Who is that quarterback with no aim? And the Jacksonville Jaguars' current win-loss record on Thanksgiving games. Well, thank you both for taking time out of your day after Thanksgiving to do these silly trivia questions and to do those sports picks. And any other thoughts on the NFL going into this weekend?
Any other thoughts? If you give me a minute, one of the things I've been interested in is you mentioned before, what teams are headed to the playoffs or what teams may make a run in the playoffs. And I thought if you want to take a minute, we can talk about that. In the AFC, there's kind of only, I think there was maybe 9 teams that have a chance, maybe 10 if you count the Broncos and the Patriots, that have a chance for those 7 spots.
Okay.
So you look at the Bills and the Dolphins; they're likely in. You look at the Steelers, Browns, and Ravens. Their Steelers and Browns are certainly have a good chance. The Browns, obviously, the Steelers are pretty much in.
Yeah, Ravens are in trouble if they lose this week and or this COVID situation gets worse for them.
Yeah, Colts and Titans figure to both be in. Despite one of them will obviously lose this week. Chiefs are definitely in. Raiders figure to be in. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 9 teams with at least 6 wins.
Yeah, I'm gonna cross out Baltimore. Risky, but I'd say they're out, and it comes down to probably Cleveland or Miami.
Yeah, those are so. Looking at that, the Broncos, the Patriots, teams with 4 wins and 6 losses already, and even the Texans now with 4 and 7. They kind of have to run the table to really have it.
Yeah, none of them are making it. None of them are good enough to run the table.
Yeah, so it's those 9 teams, and I think you're right. The Ravens are going to be in a little bit of trouble here. They've been going badly, so it's going to probably be down to those 2 teams.
I mean, I can't figure the Raiders well. When I think they may win, they lose, and vice versa. But I just think they'll end up with enough wins to find a way into the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. And the NFC,
What a
The
mess.
NFC East really screws things up because you really only got 6 spots for the good teams.
Yeah. So let's just say NFC East winner takes
That,
one of those spots.
that'll be the Giants.
Yeah, well, whoever it may be, yes.
So let's look at the teams that are over 500 now. You've got
Okay. I'll just say yes or no if they're getting in.
the Packers,
Yes.
Saints,
Yes.
Bucks.
No.
No on the Bucks. Interesting. Disagree with you there. Rams,
Yes.
Seahawks,
Yes.
Cardinals.
No.
So you've got one Seahawks, Rams, Saints, Packers. That's 4 for 7 spots. The Bears are 5-5.
No.
Okay. The Vikings are 4-6.
No.
The 49. The Cardinals are 6-4. Didn't get to them yet.
I don't think so.
The 49ers are 4-6.
No.
The Falcons are 3-7. See, we're running out of teams here. The Bears are 5-5. Did I get to the Bears yet? The Bears 5-5.
You got to the Bears and I said no.
Okay. Vikings 4-6. I said Lions 4-7.
Definitely not.
Panthers 4-7.
No.
So you've only put 4 teams in 6 spots. That's all the teams, unless you're taking the Washington team football at 4-7.
I'm not.
Taking 2 teams for the NFC East.
I'm trying to leave the Bucks out, and you're making me take them.
I think you have to.
I don't want to.
For what it's worth, the second best point differential.
I'm stomping my feet. I don't want to take them.
They have the second best point differential in the NFC.
They'll probably get in.
They'll probably get in. That's 5 for the 6 spots, counting the East. The NFC East as the 7th spot. That's out. So there's still another team that has to get in that currently is 5-5. Unless the Cardinals are 6-4. They're the only team with a winning record that you said that is not getting in. So it's the Cardinals are 6-4, the Bears are 5-5, and then you've got a bunch of teams that are with 4 wins. Somebody's getting in from that group.
I guess the Cardinals.
Right? I mean, so it's kind of screwy. And to me, it's emblematic of where the NFL is right now. You've got a few teams that I believe are good, and most of them are in the AFC. This is just my belief. This has nothing to do with
some weird matchups in the first round. Jeez,
yeah.
The 2 versus the 7 could be, Green Bay against Arizona. I mean, that's not a great game.
No, in the AFC, the Browns are 7-3. They're minus 23 point differential. The Bills are 7-3. They're +7. And I say it because, and the Raiders are 6-4 at +10. Usually there's a correlation, right, between scoring more points than the other team and winning your games.
Yeah.
That's the whole Bill James Pythagorean theory in sports.
What?
I said get the calculator ready.
The Pythagorean. What is it?
It's a Bill James baseball theory that your points scored squared plus your point differential or minus your point differential squared, and the square root or something along those lines of that is going to give you how many wins you have.
Got it.
Got it. You didn't get any.
No.
It's not. I mean, I'm probably. I'm almost definitely not stating Bill James's version of it correctly, but the point is your point differential should have some influence and some relation to how many games you win. And
yeah. That's what the Tin Man said right at the end of Wizard of Oz.
Exactly.
When he wished for a brain.
So the 49ers are +4. They're 4-6. The Washington team football is -2 point differential. They're 4-7. Nobody else. I mean, the Vikings are -14. The Bears are -18. Panthers are minus 19. There's a lot of mediocre teams here, and that's I think my point overall in the NFL. Who are the good teams? Interestingly, and you look at the AFC and the point differential. One of the better point differentials in the AFC are the Dolphins, who I think are suspect.
Oh, they're very suspect. I don't know if Tua can throw it further than 25, 30 yards, at least not accurately right now.
And I mean, they
Yeah,
benched
they're
them.
a suspect team.
Yeah.
Yeah, they benched him for who? Fitzpatrick? I mean, really.
Yeah.
We better wrap it up there. But I want to thank our guest, the Beat the Boz winner. Hillary has made her picks for this week, and she's gone with the Colts, the Chiefs, the Bengals, the Cardinals, and the Bills. That sounds suspect right there. But Bosman's agreed with her on 4 of 5, so it's going to come down to that Giants Cincy game. But you too can take a shot at beating the Boz if you respond in time on Twitter at flickboz.com or right here in the YouTube comments section. So to both of you, have a great weekend and enjoy doing some shopping or watching some football or even both.
Thanks for having me on.
Of course.